Well, we don't have magic here, but we do have plants. So it's mid-May. Mid-May is the end of expected wetness, the beginning of expected very dryness. So we take what we can get, and we actually had some rain last week. We actually had a thunderstorm with lightning and pretty good rain. And of course, it was a day that I rode my motorcycle to work, which, guess what? Wasn't that brilliant on my part. But there's a new guy that we have this year. So the garden has a different look now. I mean, it's not like radically different, but it's a tall garden. This year I have a tall garden. Everything has gotten quite tall and lush. And I don't know, we're in pretty severe drought conditions, which means that water is a precious commodity and has to be used prudently, and there are actually going to be restrictions on what you can and can't do in terms of watering. But I do know how to preserve water, recycle it, reuse it. For instance, shower water. A lot of this stuff right here. Look how big all this stuff got. It's gigantical. But anyway, almost all this stuff I can keep going with water that I use for showers and the water that I use for washing dishes. Yes, I'm an old-fashioned person. I wash dishes by hand. Never had a dishwasher. And I can do it. I can do a pretty good load of dishes with just like one pan of water and rinsing back into that same pan. So when I'm done, we come out and we give these guys that water. And yeah, some of it has soap in it, but the kind of soap that we use is low phosphate, and it doesn't hurt them at all. They said, "Oh boy, soap. We like that too. Yummy, yummy." This is going to be a fun one. These sunflowers that you're looking at, the tall ones, are growing underneath the tree. See the tree right here? See, it's growing under there. And there's another set over there that are growing under that part of the tree. So I'm going to have a little project this year where I'm going to determine how big these guys are going to get. All right, let's go. This guy, I think it's going to be okay. He's going to go straight up. And if I trim off the branches coming out, the new growth branches coming out, and I think all three of those will, all three, and then, so everything from here, that way, if I just keep the new branches back, we'll be okay. These two guys are going to hit that main thing if they grow the way that sunflowers normally do lately, which is quite tall. They might bend through the break in the tree. They might go like out like that because they're smart. Any rate, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. And to a limited degree, I'll have the same problem over there. But those guys will probably just bend over the fence. Look, Sweet Williams, this year they did much better than they did last year. Okay, and behind them, I believe those are Shasta daisies. I really hope so, and I really hope they take off, because these guys, Shasta daisies, are terrifically beautiful. I have new lights. I'll take a picture of the lights later tonight. Those are, they look good at night. They look really good. And down in this sunflower bed, you can see the California poppies like to grow underneath my sunflowers, which is good because I love both kinds of plants. And this bed is kind of like what this bed's always been. It's got a bunch of sunflowers. This bed, on the other hand, well, pop marigolds, they colonize, and they have. But there are some, I mean, look, we got a little outline of sunflowers there, which is plenty. And on this end, that's a pineapple guava, feijoa, which this guy over here is as well. And they'll grow up, they'll be little trees. They'll be like 6 feet tall. There's another one right here. I raised them in the back. And then when they got big enough, I moved them up here. Because they're kind of gonna take over as providing shade, etc. This is the last of them that's out here. And it did best. Even in the back, it was doing best. And you can see now, like, it's gonna grow up, and pretty quickly. There's rows of these behind where I work that are 7-8 feet tall, and you can raise them either as trees or bushes depending on how you trim them. So that's cool. And then of course, Dusty Miller. Oh, Dusty, you're so vigorous. So this whole thing, it just kaboom. Basically, kaboom. And here's my little. This is a new bucket wine barrel this year. I just liked how the colors went together. The one over there, that one over there, it had whiter flowers on it. And things are getting dry, so a lot of the flowers are pulling back. And then all of that back in there, those are all bush-like plants. That one is about 3 years old, and so you can see it's going to fill up that whole corner. It might get as tall as the fence. It might be lower, but it'll spread the hell all out. It was the size of a grapefruit when it started. This guy will pretty much do the same. Has pretty little pinkish, purplish flowers on it when it's flowering, but that's a springtime flower kind of bush. But I want those and these fountain grasses. I just wanted to fill everything up. And as you can see, all the mulch all over the place mostly comes from these fountain grasses, which are in their still in a dormant kind of state, and from weeds, and trimming that, and anything that comes off goes back on the ground because it's mulch. It covers the ground and it keeps weeds from growing, and blah blah blah. So there we go. I wanted to find one of these. What we have on all of our sunflowers, almost every sunflower has the ladybug. Almost every one. And at night they go down in there into the flowery part, which they won't be able to do pretty soon when the flowers start. But we also have these kind of pollinators. They look like flies, but they're actually pollinators. So it's interesting having gardens because you learn many things. And these are the lamb's ears in their flowering stage. They get kind of nice. They get pretty. I'm going to turn this off because I'm running out of power.